Hi guys, I'm Cody Jay and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now today we are throwing out the makeup and I'm going to be bringing to you yet another one of my skincare and storytime videos. Now today's skincare and storytime video is going to be focusing on my laser hair removal journey and the scam that I fell for. Keep watching. Okay, before I start telling you this story, I'm going to wash my face real quick with my Induction Therapy's Cleanse It Daily Gentle Wash. Now, this is a pretty expensive face wash, and I actually got this as one of my aftercare products when I got my microneedling done. So let me go throw some water in my face, and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is just a clear gel face wash, and it actually, I'm going to turn my mirror. It actually is pretty good. It smells very, very nice, and yeah, like I said, it's pretty expensive. A couple months ago, I got some microneedling done, and this was one of the post-operation products I was supposed to use once per hour for the first day, and then 3 times a day after that. So it does a pretty good job, but I'm already out of it. The pump that I just used was literally just the rest of it, so thankfully I had enough. Okay, so I'm going to take you guys along my laser hair removal journey and the scam that I fell into. Now, last January, I decided, you know what, enough's enough. I really want to do this makeup full time. I want to make a lot of videos. I'm tired of shaving every day, and I can't shave every day because my face breaks out and it's very, very sensitive. So I basically had to make my filming schedule correspond to my shaving schedule, which is every 3 or 4 days. So I couldn't get a lot done. So now, y'all are pretty used to my facial hair, but I actually didn't used to have facial hair. So I decided I was going to go and see if I could get laser hair removal done. Now, laser hair removal is not permanent, it's just close enough. As of right now, electrolysis is the only thing that is, I believe, FDA approved to actually permanently eliminate hair. And I knew that, but I was like, well, if I get it to where it doesn't really grow anymore, that's good enough for me. So I went online and I found this place that was offering 70% off of their laser hair removal packages in sessions of 10. That's typically what you need. So I said, okay, that sounds too good to be true, but it's a real place. Looked at reviews, they were decent. So I went into this place and talked to the lady there and was like, yo, I want to get some laser hair removal. What you got for me? So she's telling me about all the packages they were offering, and I decided to open up a credit card with them because I only have one small credit card, so I was like, why not? And I actually decided to get myself and my boyfriend a full 10 session package. And I was like, because he hates shaving as well, and he shaves every single day. So I was like, oh, this is 2 birds, 1 stone, happy birthday, Merry Christmas, don't ask me for anything next year, it's pretty expensive. Now, full disclosure, I spent over $4,000 on this package, well, both packages total, and was pretty excited about it because that's quite a lot cheaper than what it should have been. So far, things were going okay. And like I said, I opened this credit card and I was like, it's not a big deal, I'll just make payments, it's something I've always wanted, let's just do it, I'm in the position to do it, let's do it. So I have this first consultation with the place, and I'm not going to say names just in case, but they, told me everything would be great, they've been doing it a long time, so I had faith in them. I saw before and after photos, I was pretty confident in this place. So they told me to come back, I think in 3 or 4 days to get my first treatment done. So I did that. 3 or 4 days later, I showed up and went in. They got my first treatment done, and when I tell you this was the most excruciatingly painful thing I've ever experienced, I'm not being dramatic. It was almost unbearable. I mean, it really was unbearable. My legs were crossed, my hands were clenched, toes curled, jaw clenched, everything that could be clenched, everything was clenched. It was so painful, and they had this icy cold thing blowing on you while it's snapping your face the light is, and you hear it and you feel it, and it just truly felt like razor blades just cutting your face every single time it snapped. It was truly unbearable. Now, I don't know if it's just because that's really how bad it feels, or if it's because I have super sensitive skin. I really don't know, but I've heard some people say it doesn't hurt. Some people have told me that it was just as painful as it was for me for them. So it was very, very bad. But I'm like, you know what? You just got to do it. You don't want hair. It'll be worth it in the end. So first treatment done. Cool. So real quick, I'm going to be using my Skin Better Science Refreshing and Exfoliating Scrub. It's also a mask, but I'm only going to use it as a scrub, not a mask, because I have a different mask. So my boyfriend's appointment was supposed to be I don't know, a week later. So my boyfriend goes in for his consultation the next day, and then, like I said, his appointment was a couple days later. Well, supposed to be. So he goes in for his consultation, and right off the bat, they tell him, oh, have you been tanning lately? And he said, no. They're like, well, you're kind of tan. He's like, yeah, I'm, technically Hispanic. I have, tan skin and darker features or whatever. And they're like, oh, well, we think you're too dark for this. And he's like, what is that supposed to mean? They're like, well, we can only treat like, you know, lighter skin because the light has to be a lot lighter than your skin color. If, you know, your skin is too dark, it just, you know, the light disperses all over and it's not effective and it can cause issues. And, but they're like, we'll do a patch test, a little tiny, you know, area to see if it works. So they did that and they said, you know, okay, I guess we'll let you do it. You need to come back, you know, weeks and weeks from now. So he's like, okay. So fast forward, little bits of my hair started to fall out a little bit. Like I could kind of pull my hair and it would just come out really easily. So I'm like, oh, it's kind of working already. Okay, so we're gonna fast forward a little bit. And I had called this place several times because I didn't know what my appointment date was for the next treatment. So I kept calling them to find out and nobody would answer. And then when someone would answer, they'd be like, oh, we're super busy, we'll call you right back. But then they wouldn't. So now we're gonna fast forward another couple weeks. It's now the appointment date for my boyfriend's first actual treatment. So he shows up there and the doors are locked. It's like 5 o'clock at night. It's when his appointment was. The doors were locked, lights were off, and he's like, what the heck? So he calls me and is like, are you sure? I'm the one that gave him the appointment time because I scheduled both of our appointments when I signed up for the package. So he's checking in to make sure I gave him the right date. And I said, I'm 100% sure it's the right date and time. I made sure because your work schedule is different than mine. So he said, okay. So I called them, nothing. So then it's the next day, I call them yet again, no response. So I called the location that's like 20 or 30 minutes down the road, and they tell me, oh, so sorry, they're just super understaffed, they have to close early. I said, I've been calling for weeks and nobody will return my phone call, what's going on? They said, oh, we don't know, you'll have to call corporate. So I call corporate, and corporate tells me, hi, we have a script that we need to read to you. And I said, oh, this can't be good. So I can't quote it, but pretty much they were saying that this business decided to file chapter, I think 12 bankruptcy, and will be closing all of their locations. And I said, you mean just the ones like around me or all? And they're like, all. And I'm like, so what am I supposed to do? I said, I've been calling for weeks. No one wants to give me an answer. Like, you're all giving me the runaround, telling me they're understaffed, they'll get back to me, no one will. Then they close that location, but actually they're closing all locations. I just paid almost $4,000 for these packages. What do you want me to do? And they're like, oh, well, we don't really know. You can maybe like dispute it with your credit card company. I said, why should they be liable for it when you're the ones that are pretty much ripping me off? And they're like, well, how are we ripping you off? And I said, because you signed me up for a package like January 1st. January 14th was the first time that you tell me that there's an issue of some sort. It's like the first time I find out there's an issue of some sort. And then it's a week or two later, then it's, oh, we're filing bankruptcy. End of story. That's not just something a company does overnight or decides overnight or over a couple weeks. Like, this is guaranteed something you had to have known was going to happen for months now. And I'm like, and to me that makes sense as to why you were offering 70% off, because you're trying to get all the money you can from people before you pretty much decide to shut down your entire business. And they're like, no, that's not the case, that's not the case. I'm like, that seems like the case to me. So before I continue, let me wash this off real quick. Okay guys, so I'm going to throw on some of my facial mist one more time. I love using this in between products just to keep my skin moisturized and just refresh. So, I have this argument with corporate, and corporate then tells me that, you know, like I said, you need to call the credit card company, and I was really mad about that. So I call my credit card company that I specifically opened for this location and for this procedure, and real quick, I'm using the e.l.f. Super Mask. It's amazing. I did a review on the entire skincare line in the past. Go check it out. So they tell me, oh, there's nothing we can do about it. You know, you're going to have to deal with them, blah, blah. And I said, you don't understand. They're filing bankruptcy. What am I supposed to do about that? They're like, oh, you're going to have to file as a creditor in the bankruptcy case. And I was like, but how am I a creditor? They're like, because they owe you money. And I'm like, well, that seems like it's going to be quite the process. And they're like, well, it is, but it's a lot of money, so you don't want to like lose it, do you? And I'm like, there's no protection for me whatsoever when this is literally a fraudulent, pretty much a fraudulent transaction. Like, how's it fraudulent? I'm like, because I would bet my life on it that they knew that they were going to file bankruptcy when they took my money. You don't decide something like that over the course of a couple weeks. And they're like, yeah, we agree. So I guess what we can do is file a dispute with our legal team and we'll get back with you. And I'm like, okay. So at this point, like, to me, all hope is lost. You know, corporate for this company is not doing anything because, you know, they're at fault. My credit card company doesn't seem like they want to actually help me because why would they? Because that's, you know, interest they're losing out on. So about a week and a half later, I get a call from my credit card company that, again, this credit card is specifically for this location. It's not like a normal credit card that you can use anywhere else. And they tell me that they have forwarded my verbal complaint with them to everyone that it needs to go to, and their legal team is looking into it. Another week later, they call me back and they say, hey, how much money did you actually want back out of this? We know you got one of your treatments done, you said, so do you want all the money? Do you want more? I said, I'm not trying to get anything out of anyone that I'm not entitled to. I said, what I'm entitled to is, pretty much $4,000 minus the cost of what one treatment would be. Since I paid for 20, what is the cost of one treatment? So like 4,000 divided by 20, subtract, one of those from it. That's all I want. And they're like, okay. So they actually decided to refund me the entire amount, which I was extremely happy for and extremely grateful for. But then they immediately closed my card because I can never use it anywhere. So this turned into a, me being all excited for some laser hair removal to being scammed and ripped off and, having to fight everyone for like a month total, to then being a credit issue because I pretty much opened my credit card with this company January 1st, and then by like the very beginning, maybe a week or two into February, is when it got closed. So on my credit report, it looks like opened credit card, charged $4,000, closed credit card. So I contacted all the credit bureaus and I said, here's all this proof, here's my complaints, here are these, everything that you need, here's the bankruptcy filing from this place, this company. I said, this to me is a fraudulent transaction and I want this removed off my credit report. So they're like, well, did you approve this transaction? I said, yes, but just because I approved it does not mean it's not fraudulent. This package of services was sold to me under false pretenses. They were sold to me even though they knew they were going to be filing bankruptcy. I said, so that to me is fraudulent. So after a few weeks, they finally decided that I was correct. This was a fraudulent transaction under those circumstances, and they removed those charges and the opening and closing of this account from my credit report because it had dropped my credit score like literally 75 points, and that's not going to fly with Cody J. No, it's not. Credit's very important. So before I finish this story, I'm going to let this sit for 10 minutes and I'll be right back. Oh, my face is feeling refreshed. That mask is seriously the best. So, moisturizer from Olay. This is the Micro Sculpting Cream. This is one of the best moisturizers I've ever used. I highly recommend it. It's super amazing, especially after you exfoliate. Your skin feels like a baby's bottom. So to finish the story, after all this is said and done, I get my money back. Cards and transactions, everything are taken off my credit report. I'm pretty much done with this company. There's nowhere else that I can find that can do it for a similar price. So I kind of gave up on that. And I was like, it was a good idea. And it's something I want, something I kind of still want. But now I'm actually glad that I didn't get it done because I love my facial hair like this. And now that I'm comfortable with having it and having it, be on camera and doing my makeup with it, and people don't really care, I'm fine having it. I just didn't want to, I don't know. I just thought that people wouldn't, like my makeup and stuff like that with facial hair, and I don't know. Most guys I see, not most, a lot of guys I see, who do makeup have facial hair, and I didn't want to just like be another one of them. But at the same time, it is what it is. It's my face, it's my facial hair. It shouldn't, affect my quality of makeup or how people perceive it. So I was just like, oh well, it is what it is. So then after this happened, all these decisions are made, I'm good to go. So after all this is done, I then get asked if I would like to try this Hey Silky Skin, which is an at-home IPL laser hair removal thing. And I'm like, do I even want to try it? But I'm like, all these reviews look amazing on it, but I do know that people pay for fake reviews. So I was really trying to find people's before and after photos. Some had some photos and they looked like, it worked or whatever. So I got it and I got a discount on it, but I still paid hundreds of dollars. And I got it, I tried it, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 weeks, and it didn't hurt like the actual laser hair removal procedure did. It still has that same snapping feeling. It gets hot, you kind of see a little bit of smoke, but I was using it on the strongest setting, and I did my whole body with it because I shave my entire body. I make sure I'm silky smooth all the time, and it really only hurt on my face and some like more sensitive areas. But I don't know. Now I know it wasn't supposed to work as fast as like real laser hair removal, but the company told me that I should see results in 4 to 6 weeks. So even though I was doing almost double that, I wasn't really seeing anything. I mean, there were a couple little patches and they weren't like completely gone. They just definitely were thinner. But I'm like, if it's only doing this much after like, I don't know, it's like 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. I'm like, how long is this going to take to actually see results? Especially with 90% of my facial hair not being affected at all yet. I'm like, I feel like this is going to take years. So I stopped using that and I just completely gave up on it. Now fast forward like literally a year and a half now. No, a year and a month. I've been looking into electrolysis, which actually completely removes your hair. Now it's pretty expensive. I was told it's painful, but I'm not wanting to get my whole face done. I'm just wanting to get my neck done because this is what grows in that makes me not look polished and nice. So if I could permanently have that gone and this is all that's left, it'd be so much easier and better to maintain. And then I would get this little area done because I always make sure that's shaven, and then like the line. So I don't feel like it should be that expensive and take that many treatments, but something I'm looking into. So that is today's skincare laser hair removal nightmare / scam video. Now, if any of you have had any experiences, good or bad, with any type of laser hair removal, I would love for you to let me know in the comments below. I'd love to have some discussions with you guys about this. If you have any home remedies or anything like that that you think is really, worth trying and gives good results, I'd also love to know any of those things down in the comments below. So I guess that's all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed today's video, please make sure you give it a big thumbs up down below. It definitely helps me so much. Make sure you click that big red subscribe button so you can join my YouTube family. Turn on my YouTube post notifications by clicking that bell icon and switching it to all. And of course, if you like to keep up with me outside of YouTube, you can find me on my social media at Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, and Facebook, all at Cody Jay Artistry. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.